Hi, I'm Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. Today is part 3 of my deck collection, and we are still on oracles, and there is definitely going to be one more video of oracles. I cannot fit it all into 3. There's just way too many left. So what I'm going to focus on today are my nature, animal, and the couple little fairy oracles that I have. So I'm going to show these two together, and it's because they're by the same creator, and it's the Soul Trees Oracle cards and the Soul Tree Ascension deck, and it's by Allison Williams Yee, and you can find it on her, I believe it's soultrees.com. I'm looking. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yes, but she also has it on Etsy. But she runs pretty good sales all the time on her website. So both of these have 80 cards. And I thought I'd show them together because they're kind of similar. But this one has, which I haven't separated out, but this one has the chakra cards in it, the regular Soul Trees one. I have them separated because I'm using this deck currently for something else. Okay, this is the Soul Trees Ascension. This is the Soul Trees. They're very similar. I had no intention of buying the Soul Trees deck, but she had imperfect boxes or something like that on her site several months ago, and it was so inexpensive. I think it was less than $20. I might be wrong on that, but they're very similar. But I love both of them. I am using this one right now in the Drop 'em 78 challenge, pairing it up with my Rosebud Tarot, and they're like a bonded pair now. This is the first one I got, the Ascension deck. I took to it very quickly, and I was surprised at how I felt about using it, since it's just trees and it's just really painted images and some colors. But believe it or not, with that and the keywords, I was really picking up some intuitive hits, especially bringing the color symbolism into that also. So I really do enjoy these two decks. I think you need both of them? I don't know. That just kind of depends, but they are very similar, but they do have some different keywords on them. All the keywords are not exactly the same, but I love them both, and they both serve a purpose in my practice, and that's all that matters. So another deck by the same creator is the Dreamer's Journey Major Arcana Oracle Pocket Edition. This is just it's a little bit smaller than playing card size. There is 48 cards to this deck, and it is based there on the major arcana of the tarot with some added cards in. There is no a pamphlet, no booklet, no nothing for this deck. It's just what is written on the cards and the images of the cards. Again, there's some tree images. There are some people images in this deck, but it's mostly landscape, trees, whatever, with the words and a little bit at the bottom. Like this says, stagnation, stuck in an unproductive cycle, inaction, holding back growth. Let's see if I can find. Oh, there's a person. Here's the moon, and this says heightened intuition and emotions, illusions, and the subconscious. I really like this deck. I used it at the beginning of this year, and it was pretty insightful. I mean, especially since it does have the major arcana cards in here. So yeah, I really enjoy this one. Another nature-based deck is this Earth Magic Oracle cards by Stephen Farmer. This is Hay House. This is really, really old. I got this years and years and years ago. So my cardstock is glossy. I don't know if it's the same cardstock that's still out there now, This has a little bit of everything. It has nature, it has some animals in it. It's just a little bit of everything, but I keep it, you know, with my nature decks. I like using this deck. I don't use it often. I kind of pull this one out, even though it has like fairies and some of the things in there. I really do pull this one out when I am looking for a more grounded energy, or, you know, a little bit more groundedness to a reading. I don't know why. I've just always used it for that. So, but yes, this is an oldie but a goodie. My next nature deck is Divine Nature by Angie Sullins. I got this year. I used it, sometime in the spring, I think it was, and loved the readings that it gave me. It has the gilded edges, and it's 44 cards, which I think is standard for Angie Sullins decks. I am going to say this, and I said it on the Wild Woman Rising with that deck also. I don't like the gilding on here because it's that sharp gilding to it. I say this is nature, but it has, you know, people in it also. I think I put it in nature because of the title, but it's not necessarily nature based. Because what this really is about is your inner divine nature, your connection to not only earth, but spirit also. It really needs to go into my general category, but I'm just pulling them out of the cupboard how I had them. So I may change this one. But I really do like this one. I like the vintage images. I like that worn look to things. So, and I think I've said before that it was this card that made me purchase this deck. And I think that's another thing because of the animals that are in here. That's why I stuck it in my nature and animal category. The next deck in this category in my cupboard is the Earth Wisdom Oracle by Barbara Moore. This, I can't remember how many cards is in this one. This is the one that only has 32 cards. That is really disappointing to me. And I really vowed to myself this year, I am done. And I think I mentioned that during one of the angel decks. I am done purchasing cards or decks that have less than the 44. And even 44 for me is on the slim side. I want a chunkier oracle. I want it to have 50, 60, 80 cards to it. Those are nice, well-rounded oracles. These 32 and 36 card decks, they're not enough. That's my fault for not doing more research on the deck. It was one of those ones you see someone use it on YouTube, fall in love with the way they use it, and you pick it up. Now, saying that, I do really like this deck. I do. I like the keywords on it, and I do like the imagery on it. But I just wish that it had more substance to it. My other nature deck is Oracle of Roses by Sherilyn Darcy. I think that's how you say her name. I talked about this deck when I first got it, that, well, that fell off the table, that it has a very special place for me because it reminds me of my grandmother. I used it just to pull a card to get a message, and I liked using it that way also. I use it sometimes if I am working with her ancestor energy. I will pull out this deck and use it. So roses just really hold a really special place in my heart, and that's why I wanted this deck. I think everybody's seen this before. It's a rock pool deck. So it has 44 cards in it. And I like the vintage feel of it. And yeah. So this deck kind of goes between nature, and animal, and that is my Cottage Witch Oracle. This is an independent deck by Krista over at Crochet Witch Tarot here on TarotTube, and Crochet Witch Wares is her Etsy store. This is a go-to deck for me. I had the first run of it and it didn't have the guidebook, just the PDF. I do wish it had a little guidebook to it, but I just go off of how I feel with the keywords that she put on here, but it pairs so well with all my witchy decks pretty much, and other decks also, because of that, you know, a little bit of a vintage feel to it. And this is a good one, I think, to pull in with my vintage style ancestor decks also. But this is a favorite of mine, and I have her new one coming, and I cannot right now remember the name of it, but I'm looking forward to that one. This is an independent deck also, and this is the Roots and Wings Oracle by Kat, is it Raylis? She has Etsy, and let me see if I have her card in here. She has an Etsy site, and yeah, Kat Raylis, or Riles, I don't know, how do you say her last name? She has her own website also. This deck's been around for a while. It seems to be a favorite of a lot of people's, and it has nature, and it has people, and it has animals. So this one I actually own 2 copies of because I loved it so much. And when we would go to the beach and that, I often took this one with us, and in case anything happened to it, I wanted to have a backup copy. So yeah, this is a favorite, and it's, like I said, I think it's really well rounded. Other people have said that also, and the white space makes it usable with pretty much any type of tarot that you would like to pair it with. And I have it in this little bag, and it's so cute. So let's move on to my animal base, which I don't have that many because I'm not a big, I guess, using animal decks to read with. I'm really not. So this is the Prairie Majesty Oracle by Kara Simmons. This is the mass market one by Hay House. I didn't like this when I first got it. I'm going to be honest. And then it grew on me, and now I love it. But I honestly use this more in journaling, I guess. It's really good for that, and then, you know, to pull some more cards around the questions that are on the card and in the guidebook in regards, you know, to the keyword, because the animals and they don't mean much to me. So yeah, I use it more in that way for like the journaling purposes of it, and the readings I can get by using it as almost like a spread deck. I've done that before also. So that's why I've always been hesitant about picking up the Song of the Grandmother one, because this one, I like it now, but it took me a long time to warm up to this deck. So that's why I've never, you know, went ahead and purchased that, the other one. And if you have this Prairie Majesty Oracle, let me know how you use it, because I'm really curious to see how others use this deck. A big favorite of mine is the Urban Crow Oracle by MJ Cullinane. I have to say, I love her decks. This is the Mass Market edition by Hay House, and I am not a bird person. Matter of fact, I was just talking about bird decks to a fellow creator, and I actually said I don't own any bird decks, and that was a lie because this is a bird deck. So Robin, I own a bird deck. But anyway, the whole purpose of me purchasing this deck was when I started working with the Morrigan energy not this fall, last fall. And I used this deck and my Saucerabito Tarot and had beautiful readings with that goddess energy. So that's really what this deck has become. It's become my goddess deck for the Morrigan. And that's kind of really only what I've used it for. And because those readings were so intense with it, I haven't chose to use it for anything else. But I do, I love it. I know there's the expansion pack that goes with her indie, and I thought about picking it up to go with this. I know it's not the same cardstock or anything. I didn't know if it was the same size or not, but it's one of those things that's in and out of my cart, you know, all the time. Another animal deck that I ended up purchasing because of FOMO was the Woodland Warden. I don't want to say I don't like this deck because I do like it. I just don't use it. I used it a handful of times last year when I purchased it. And so this is, I guess we're going to be all which ways. And that was it. And I haven't picked it up since. And I know people gush and love this deck and the readings that they get from this deck. I don't know why. It's okay. I'd never get rid of it, but it's not one I ever reach for. I just don't. So maybe I need to find something to work with it or a reason to work with it. So let me know how you use it, because I need some inspiration when it comes to this Woodland Wardens. My next animal deck is the Animal Kin Oracle, 65 cards, Sarah Wilder. This is Hay House. This is another one that I don't really use, but I like it. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't tend to reach for it when I'm looking for an animal deck. I don't even mind, you know, the borders. I can't even say that much about this deck. I've probably had this deck 3 years maybe, and I've probably used it maybe 3 times in 3 years. And I don't know if I ever used it for myself. I think it was clients is who I used it for. So it sits there in case I ever do want to pull it out. But it's, you know, it's not one of my, it's not a go-to animal deck for me. Now the animal deck that I do reach for and that I do use is this one that I've had forever. And this is the Colette Baron Reed, the Spirit Animal Oracle. I got this when it first came out. I don't know what kind of cardstock it's on now, but mine is on that matte. This guidebook is huge. This came out in 2018, and that's when I got it. I've even considered picking up the pocket edition of this deck. I really love this deck. I love the colors of this deck. I love the images on this deck. This is my favorite animal oracle. And again, I'm not a big animal oracle reader. I'm not a big pairing my animals up with a bunch of different tarot either. However, I am considering pulling an animal card this year to see what my animal like spirit guide would be for the coming year, and or what animal energy wants to work with me in the coming year. Maybe that will be interesting. But oh my gosh, I do. I love this one. Love it, love it. But hate to shuffle it because it is so, the MAC cardstock just sticks together for me. I don't know what I did with my decks when I was putting them away, that they're all in going different ways. And my last one that I have in my like animal category is When My Soul Whispered Oracle deck by Melissa Salvaggio, artwork, Jess O'Connor. I really do enjoy this deck. I used this deck, last year, maybe the year before last, in to bring in the energy for the quarters of the year head readings for my clients. And I really like it. I picked this for the animal category because it has a little bit of nature, it has a little bit of animal energy on here, and I thought that it fit perfectly in that category. I like to pair, this pairs with pretty much anything. I think this would pair really nicely with the Unfolding Path, with that white on white borders going. So, and this was one I was hesitant about picking up. This is the mass market version by US Games, but I was really hesitant about picking it up, and I'm so glad I did because I do really enjoy it. So I'm going to round out this video with 3 fairy decks. And we're going to start with my favorite. And that is the Faery Forest Oracle by Lucy Cavendish. I love this fairy deck. I modified it. I chopped every single border off, took it down to just the image, and then I edged it in like this antique brown color. And when I go for a fairy deck, this is the one that I pull out. I only have a couple fairy decks, and that's okay because I'm just really starting to gain a bigger interest in fairies, and we're going to see how that plays out for me. And, you know, working with that energy. I don't pull this that often, but God, it is beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. The next one that I put in the fairy category is the Celtic Spirit Oracle, Ancient Wisdom from the Elementals. This is rock pull, and it's only 36 cards. So that was kind of, you know how I feel. I just already talked about that. But this, it gives me that fairy vibe, but also like the nature spirits and, you know, like the other nature things that are in here, like tree spirit and, you know, things like that. So these, like I said, the nature, the animal, and the fairy, they kind of all sit together in my cabinet, so I know where to go when I'm looking for something like that divine nature that sits in there, because it has the word divine nature in the title. It's easiest for me to find in that category, even though, you know, I know it's not a nature deck before, you know, people say, but I do enjoy this one. I used this one in working with the goddess Bridget and her energy, and it was really nice using this for that. And I used the what's that tarot called? The Universal Celtic Tarot. I paired it with that, and they worked lovely together. So, but yeah, I've only used it for that, so I can't really say much else about it. But man, the readings were just like spot on. And the last fairy deck is my Brian Froud Fairy Oracle, the one that I've already talked about, the cardstock on here, and because of that, I didn't use it. I need to get past it so I can use this deck and really get a feel for these energies on here, because I do really want to work with them, but my issue is the cardstock, and I can't, I'm not going down that rabbit hole because I had a whole thing where I talked about that. But yeah, so I haven't worked with it at all. I tried 1 month, but we weren't getting along. So I'm just waiting for the right time to pull this deck out and use it. If you have the Brian Froud Fairy Oracle, give me your thoughts. Tell me how you use it. What do you like to pair it with? You know, it feels like it'd be a really cheeky type deck. So I'm really curious to know. So I think I am going to wrap this video up for today, and I'm going to come back with Oracle Part 4, and that should wrap up the oracles on the one shelf. On the one shelf. Now we have the stuff in the boxes below. That's on the one shelf. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you have any of these oracles, let me know below. Let me know how you use them, what you think of them, especially the couple that I mentioned that I don't really use that often. I love to hear how you use your decks. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more of this collection that is going to be a whole lot of episodes, don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate you all being here, and until I see you next time, bye.